Hi folks, it's Out of the House with Paul, Sunday afternoon, and I've just come out to the shop. My wife's gone upstairs to sew or quilt, so time for some fun in the workshop. So the last time we got together here, we were discussing and making a heat shield. This engine had overheated last winter when I was pulling a couple four-wheelers in off the slush and the ice. So just a little bit too much work for this Portal 340, and it's a fan-cooled engine. And I thought I'd dig out the pistons and show you. So this is the piston configuration. The first piston that was on this side, crown, nice and burnt looking. I did wire wheel it to get some identification numbers off the top of it, but the skirts are fine. Crown is fine, no evidence of overheating, looks good. However, the piston, the next piston, so it's already gotten, the air has already been used to cool this cylinder. Now the air continues across. This one's a different story. The crown as well looks fine. Nice little amount of soot, and the rings were fine, but it suffered a classic skirt seizure. 2 points, overheated. So to prevent that from, hopefully prevent that from ever happening again, last weekend, 2 weeks ago, we built this heat shield. We built a cardboard template first, and we're going to mount it right here. So now we're just in the process of seeing how we're going to mount it on here. I think I'm going to tack on 1, 2, 3 pieces of half-inch square steel tubing with a 1/4 inch nut up inside, and then I can just put a bolt and a lock and a flat washer down, and that'll hold this part. And then the bottom part down in here, all we're going to do is just put a couple of holes through and some 1/4 inch fasteners with some fender washers. Okay, we'll lay out where we're going to put our holes and center punch it and go drill our holes. So I've got a drill chucked in the drill press. The 2 pieces in the drill press vise, I'll do 2 of them and then put this last one in. This is what the part actually looks like that we're going to be drilling the hole in. And I've chosen a drill bit a couple of 64th larger than a 1/4 inch to give us just a little bit of clearance, a little bit of wiggle room when we put the fasteners in and weld the nut. So let's start the drill press and we'll drill some holes. So we've got the hole drilled in, and I've used a large-headed Phillips 1/4 screw, and I've put a nut down inside there. I'm going to use the screw to hold the nut in place, and now I'm going to stitch a little weld on either side of it. Now it's pretty dirty in there, pretty rusty. So we've laid out where the pieces are going to go, the 2 tabs, or the 3 tabs, and I've put a mark further down here that you can't see with a piece of soapstone, so that when I clean this off, buff this off, ready to weld it, that we don't lose all our marks. So I'm going to clean it off with a die grinder and a 60 grit flap wheel. So whenever you're going to weld on a machine with any kind of electronics or electrical system, you always want to make sure you take off the battery ground and disconnect any harnesses you can. This machine doesn't have a battery, so I'm hooking up the work clamp or the ground clamp right to the piece I'm going to weld to try and eliminate any stray voltages from doing any damage. And I feel pretty secure. I've wire wheeled the sides of the tubing, wire wheeled or cleaned the muffler, so I don't think I'm going to get any eddy currents or any stray voltages. I think I'm pretty safe. Hi folks, it's Paul with Out of the House with Paul. It's Wednesday night at 3 minutes to 9. I'm just getting out here now. Got a lovely fire on. It's about -6 outside. It's a little chilly. And the last what we did Sunday afternoon, if you remember, was we made up these 3 mounts for the heat shield and we welded them to the muffler. So tonight I'm going to drill the holes and mount the heat shield, and then I'm going to take it all back apart and I'm going to spray these 3 mounts with some high heat black, flat black paint so it looks a little better and it doesn't rust. Anyways, let's get at it and see what we can get done. You're probably asking why I'm drilling with a right angle die grinder. It's because it's all I can fit down in that space. So I put a 1/4 inch drill, I pulled out the carbide bit I had on it for deburring, and I just put in this and a 1/4 inch bit and it worked fine. I don't have a right angle drill. So I've drilled the 2 holes in the bottom, we've drilled the holes in the top, we've matched the holes here. Now there is one head of 1 rivet here that I'm going to drill a relief hole right there. I tapped it lightly with a hammer so it left a mark where it goes. So I've grabbed a 1/4 tap and I'm just going to chase the threads on these 3 nuts that we welded in. So I've put it all back together, and I've got all the fasteners in finger tight for now because I'm going to take it right back off. Fits like a dream. Looks well. I've got enough clearance down here now to get the dipstick out for the chain case. So now it's just time to take it back off and put a couple drop sheets down and just give this a little bit of black paint, exhaust paint or high temp paint on the muffler. And this is what the finished product looks like. As you can see, it causes the air that's going to cool the engine to come from in the front, not off the side after passing through the exhaust. And I got the idea actually from an older Polaris with a 340 in it that also had a heat shield on, and this model, the Edge, doesn't have one. So hopefully that'll take care of that overheating problem if it ever goes to happen again. And also I'll be a little more gentle in the future.